Is survivor's guilt a real emotional condition? Why do I feel guilty that the fire, flood, hurricane, or tornado missed my house, but it took my friend's or neighbor's house? What can I do to deal with survivor's guilt or cope after a disaster? These are the topics I will dive into today. Hello, everyone. My name is Davina, and I want to welcome you back to my channel or welcome you for the first time. I'm an author. I write self-help books. I'm also a psychologist, a life coach, and a New Thought spiritual practitioner. And this channel has been dedicated to personal growth, spirituality, health, and well-being. And everything we talk about on this channel is about supporting our mind, our body, and our spirit on our own personal journey to healing and self-transformation. This is not medical advice, and it is not a substitute for medical or mental health treatment. This channel and its contents are for educational purposes only. Please do consult a medical or mental health professional if you do need mental health treatment or medical treatment or mental health advice. Please consult them directly. So, dealing with survivor's guilt after a natural disaster can be incredibly challenging. It's a deeply emotional experience, and the psychological impact can be long lasting. So, the first thing you want to do is you want to acknowledge your feelings. Understand that guilt is a normal reaction, and survivor's guilt often stems from the perception that you could have done something different, that you could have changed the course of action of what took place, and feeling undeserving of that good fortune, that luck, that blessing, or whatever other resources you have that someone else doesn't have. You feel guilty because you were saved from suffering that others weren't saved from. It's important to recognize that these feelings are common and a natural response to trauma. You want to avoid suppressing your emotions rather than ignoring them or pushing them away. Bring them up. Give yourself permission to feel whatever it is you're feeling. And you may feel sad, you may feel anger, confused, you might feel numbness. Whatever's there, just honor your feelings, let them come up. And the second thing you want to do is you want to talk about what you're feeling. Don't keep it inside, but connect with people that you feel safe with. Express your feelings to trusted individuals. So if it's a friend or a family member, a coach or a therapist, a minister, whoever it is, talk with your guilt with those folks so you can process those emotions and help get them into perspective. Often you're going to find that other people around you have experienced similar emotions and they can understand. A lot of people experience survivor's guilt for a lot of different reasons. And so just talking to others can help normalize that. So again, connect with others who have experienced the same disaster or trauma or a similar one. This can help reduce the sense of isolation. You can share feelings, stories, and coping mechanisms in a safe and empathic environment. So, for example, one person may have been through the California fires and someone else went through the hurricane in North Carolina, or someone else experienced a hurricane in Florida and someone else experienced the floods in Kentucky or a tornado in another part of the planet. Or maybe someone, talk with someone who's been through an earthquake. So I apologize. I know this is very US centered right now, and that's because where I'm based and that's kind of my field of awareness in this moment. But we know that these disasters and wars are happening all over the planet. And so connecting with others who've gone through something can, again, help us understand and process and feel empathy and compassion, which is the next thing. The third thing is to practice compassion, especially self-compassion as you're dealing with the survivor's guilt. Treat yourself with kindness. Don't beat yourself up because of whatever you did or didn't do or your feelings. It's very easy to fall into self-blame, but remember you didn't cause the disaster, and however you responded to the disaster was the best that you could do at that time. So give yourself some grace for that. Again, you're not responsible for things that are beyond your control. So be gentle with yourself as you would a friend or someone else that you care about that was going through this. And give yourself time and permission to heal. And understand that healing's not linear, especially like grief. It comes in waves. And it can come at strange times, and certain things can trigger it. Smells, or, you know, just looking at certain objects can bring it back. So know that these waves of loss and guilt can come up at any time, and give yourself space to move through this trauma at your own pace. Again, giving yourself that permission to heal. The fourth thing is you want to focus on meaningful action. What can you do to contribute to the recovery efforts? How can you help in a way that doesn't hurt you, right? So if you can channel your feelings of guilt into positive actions by volunteering or donating to disaster relief, or getting prepared for, helping people prepare for the next disaster, because we live in a world where things happen. And sometimes the best way to help is to just help people get organized and prepared so that they have some sense of control when something does happen. So, doing something to make a difference can provide a sense of purpose. And so, finding a meaningful way to do that that works for you. If someone's died, including a pet, or a place has been destroyed, uh, you can honor their memory and your memories. So sometimes survivor's guilt is linked to a feeling that you haven't done enough to honor those who didn't survive, or places that are now gone. Consider finding ways to pay tribute to those people or pets or places, whether through a memorial, charity work, or acts of kindness in their name. The fifth thing is to seek professional help. Again, if the survivor's guilt is really challenging you, um, work with a mental health professional, seek out a counselor, a support group, or a therapist. And you can do EMDR, you can do CBT, or you can just process the existential feelings of guilt and fear that you have that have come up from this disaster. Just having a place to talk about it, maybe trying to understand it on a spiritual level could be supportive for you. And then seeking grief counseling. Survivor's guilt is closely linked to grief. So going to a grief and loss group could be very supportive, or finding a grief counselor. You also want to understand that trauma affects everyone differently. When people are presented with a trauma, some people collapse and go within and can't get out of bed. Other people get very active, almost manic, and they're really good under a crisis. And then it's when things calm down is when the fear, anxiety, sadness come through. So you've got to respect your own healing process and other people's healing process and coping mechanisms. It's very different. So don't compare how you're doing with others. So if somebody else seems like they've just bounced back and they're moving on, and you really need to take it slow, honor that. Honor where you're at. Don't compare yourself to others. And accept that you may not have all the answers. So you may not understand why, you this could go all the ways. Why you survived and someone didn't. You may not understand why your house survived and some or business survived and someone else's didn't. Um, and if you're someone that has lost things, lost your home, you may wonder, why did this happen to you? So again, coming to terms with what has happened in dealing with the unknown, is very challenging. But just understanding that you may not know it all now. Um, Again, we are here on a soul's journey, and we don't always understand the experiences that we have until much later, or sometimes even at the end of our lives and beyond. Um, and it's not because we're being punished. Bad things don't happen to people because they're being punished. Things happen because life is complicated, and it challenges offer opportunities for us to grow and open our hearts even more deeply. So please know that this isn't because you're a bad person that something did or didn't happen to you. Another thing you want to do is you want to stay grounded in the present. You want to just be here now and take one moment at a time. So mindfulness and meditation can be extremely important for this. So nice deep breathing exercises, coming back to the now, maybe connecting with any book by or practice by Thich Nhat Hanh would be great. And just again, grounding yourself in this moment now, being here now, feeling your feelings, letting them move through you, kind of like the weather passes, and just taking care of your needs in this moment. So, really, really focusing on self care practices. So, whatever helps you feel calm and centered. So, if you need to get a weighted blanket, deep breathing, a warm beverage, going for a walk, um, comforting clothing, journaling, spending time in places that you feel safe or safe-ish, or with people. Whatever you can do to regulate. I don't get any kickback from this, but I am a huge proponent of the rescue remedy. I highly recommend this. It is a homeopathic little yellow pill. It's not mind altering. There's no alcohol or drugs in it. Looks like that. You just put it under your tongue. Um, you can buy a version for pets that is a liquid form. This, it says natural stress relief. Again, I don't understand how this works, but it has helped me over the past decade. It helps with stress from, you know, going through a divorce to moving to flying to natural disasters. I highly, highly recommend it. Again, I don't get anything from that, but it is something that I use and I recommend to my clients because it's not like alcohol or something else that numbs you or is mind altering or addictive. It's just a rescue remedy that is a homeopathic made with different flower essences and things of that nature. So again, whatever your self-care practices are, I highly recommend that you engage in those. Now, the next thing you do is you want to reframe the guilt. So shift that guilt from gratitude to or responsibility. So shift from guilt to gratitude or responsibility. Instead of seeing your luck or privilege in this situation as something to feel guilty about, focus on how you can make the most of the second chance you have. So my friend Philip lost his house, and one of the things he said was, please, in my honor, make a go bag and make sure that you have all the insurance that you need. I thought that was really, really helpful. So, getting responsible. So, what can you do in your home or your environment or your neighborhood to help people with emergency preparedness? Can you take a CERT class? That's the Community Emergency Response Training through FEMA, so that you can be a helper and know what to do in situations and just prepare yourself and your family? Can you enjoy the beauty that's around you? Whatever things you have, can you just engage in gratitude for that? And just celebrate and help lift the vibration of the energy on the planet by allowing yourself to feel happiness and joy. That's important too. If we're all going downhill, there's no one to lift us back up. So, doing what you can to practice your gratitude practice. And even as you have lost things, what is there to be grateful for? Keep focusing back on that. Find ways to help and honor others who have experienced losses. So find ways to donate, to contribute, to uh, get involved in helping the rebuilding efforts. Open your home if you can. What ways that you can do to help and contribute. That's great. That's really great. And begin to create a new narrative. Guilt can be reframed as a call to action. Um, so, again, how can you experience now to the greater good? Listening to others, praying with others if that's something that you do, feeding people, um, organizing whatever it is. Again, there's the possibilities are infinite of ways that you can help. So just listen to that still small voice inside of you that invites you to contribute in whatever ways are meaningful. And again, sometimes, it might even be um, offering a song, posting a beautiful picture, something that helps people get their minds off of whatever it is that they're experiencing in that moment. So whatever you can do to uplift the planet, that's great. Again, we talked about just being patient with yourself, survivor's guilt, loss, trauma. It doesn't go away quickly. It takes time, and just trust that in time the intensity will diminish. But give yourself space and time. And again, if you're feeling disorganized, you can't focus, it's hard to do your job, just know that that will pass too. We have been through a pandemic together, people, and we know in those early days that uh, it was terrifying. And, as people were dying around us and people were losing family members again, we experienced fear, loss, guilt, trauma, survivor's guilt. Um, and in those first couple of weeks, months, it was hard to focus on anything. And then it got easier and it got easier, and there was grief, and we lost people, we lost ways of life from that experience, but we got through it. Um, these other natural disasters that are happening in communities, so we're not all going through the same disaster together like we were in pandemic, but we can remember how to help. We can remember how we reached out and supported one another. And we can remember that during the pandemic, one of the hardest aspects of it was not being able to physically be with one another and comfort one another. So we could remember how important that physical comfort and connection is. And we can offer that, whether we're offering it, you know, um, across technology or we're in the room with people. We have that love, that care, that compassion to offer. All right. The other thing is just, again, like, you're not alone. You are not alone. So survivor's guilt, trauma, at one point or another, it touches us all. So just understand that you're not alone, and please reach out. Please reach out as you don't wait until you feel super horrible. And if you're already feeling super horrible, reach out now. Okay. You don't have to be in this alone. Connect with others who can understand your experience or want to understand your experience and be with you and support you. Again, allow yourself to receive. And you might feel, well, I didn't lose my home. I don't deserve anything. Everyone deserves to receive love and support. So please give yourself that. So again, dealing with survivor's guilt and loss, again, it's not an easy process. There's no quick fix for these feelings. You have a right to feel your survivor's guilt. And again, acknowledging your emotions, seeking support, practicing self-compassion, and taking proactive steps towards your healing can help you work through the guilt and find peace over time. Be gentle with yourself. And again, if you think that you could benefit from additional support, one way is you can reach out to me at davinakatulski.com for a life coaching session or a spiritual practitioner session. You can also go to psychologytoday.com where you can find my psychology profile or other people's psychology profiles in your area. So psychologytoday.com. Again, I don't get a kickback for that. I'm just sharing it because that's a resource that I also use and I'm in and I'm listed in. And then also therapyden.com is another, so another good one. So hope you find what you need. Additionally, if you like this video and this content, I invite you to please just click like on the YouTube and subscribe to my channel. Feel free to share this video with anyone that you feel could benefit from this support. Again, my heart goes out to you wherever you are. Please know I am holding you and our planet in my prayers. And let's just remember that we are each other's angels. We show up and we support one another, and we are here to be love and to shine love on the planet. I invite you to choose love and not sides. All right. Take care.